promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the La U Times podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the La U Times podcast. Back to the basics, back to victory. Full episode tonight, and got the friends, got the pod going with Alfred. What's up, my friend? How you doing tonight?
Good, man. Happy to be back.
Awesome. Lou, Tigres English. What's up, my friend? How are you?
What's up, fellas? Good to be here, man.
And lastly, Double O Nation. Edgar, what's going on, my friend?
What up, guys? Always a pleasure. Greetings from North Texas.
We're back to basics, or to the basics, back to victory, guys. Got a full episode tonight with a recap over both squads, but pretty stoked. So to start off with our league debut, Double O Nation, Edgar, walk us through the segment.
Alrighty, league debut, Tigres versus Juarez recap. With passion and a new heavyweight in the starting 11, Los Incomparables returned to the Volcán for their first match in the Liga MX Apertura season. Angel Correa got his first taste of Mexican football, but it was a challenging start for the World Cup champion, who seems to be still finding his groove and finding his role in the squad. The match also featured the return of the King of Nuevo León, as APG was subbed on in the 82nd minute and got to see a few minutes of action. The match concluded with a 1-0 draw, with a golazo scored by Osiel Herrera in the 67th minute, featuring a phenomenal assist by Chuy Garza. It's safe to say that there were a lot of good things to start the season, but let's dig deeper to assess what should have gone better in the match.
Absolutely. Back to the basics, back to victory. I want to start off with that and, kind of just go around, what's your interpretation of that and what, you maybe had thought that was the best and the worst from the night. So we'll start off with Lou.
Well, to me, back to basics is getting back to what made us successful under Tuca. And so to me, it was, a sort of a Tuca offense with some wrinkles added to it, with some new pieces incorporated into it. We've obviously added Angel Correa, but you saw a lot of contribution from guys like Osiel Herrera. Even Lainez looked a lot better than he did in that wingback role last season. So him being able to play higher up the pitch, I think, made him look better. So, we're starting to see some wrinkles to Tuca's system. Basically, it's just a continuation, but it's something that made us very successful. I was really proud to see us with 553 completed passes. If you compare the completed passes to last season's game, where we lost at home to Juarez, last season we had only 360 something completed passes. So much better, more passes in the final third, more shots inside the box. So the team looks good. I think it's a great start to the season. Honestly, there was some hate on Twitter. There's a lot of people that are unhappy with the start, felt that we should have scored a lot more against this Juarez team. But Juarez does this very well. They defend very well. They defend in the low block. They're used to playing this way. We knew they were going to play this way coming in, and eventually we were going to break through that defense, and we did. It took a while, but we finally wore them down. But we had three balls hit the post, so it's a game that easily could have gone 2-0 if we would have had some better luck.
Absolutely. And one of the things that, we take from all that you mentioned is the consistency, and right back to the basics. Edgar, what are your thoughts on some of the best and worst things that you thought happened additionally to what Lou said, and why at times in the second half we also went through a phase of looking like the team that was down, even though we were up a man?
So definitely the possession, and like Lou mentioned, the amount of passes completed, that's, something that wasn't always prevalent in previous matches, but for this first match to kick off the season, it was really, really great. It helped us control so much of the game. However, sometimes you focus a little bit too much on that, and it seems like you're not necessarily implementing it to the best of your abilities. So a lot of times it did look like Tigres was a team with 10 men out there, just not doing enough with that possession, just kind of trying to control the game, but being the dormant team on the field. And we saw a lot of that with Tuca, to be honest. It was more just control the game, try to sleep out your opponent, but definitely need to add a little bit more of the offensive punch, especially when we have a few new players, and Ociel was the one who was able to score, kind of setting him up for more of those goals.
Okay, Alfred, with what he said, there's obviously a couple of things that happened that were bright spots in the starting lineup. Chuy Garza starting at the left back, even Ociel Herrera getting the trust alongside Lainez, who had good games and good batches of the game. What are some things that you saw that impacted, some of our play in that first half leading into that second half with some of these players that stood out?
Well, first of all, it also translates to me. The lineup translates to me on this topic header that we have is back to basics, because we know that last season it was Pizarro's experiment to try to play with a back line of 5, and unfortunately, we were hoping to get somebody that was going to come in and play that left wing back position, and since nobody has come in to fulfill that spot, we're back to basics. We're back to what used to work and what, to be honest, can be the only thing that can work until we have a true left wing back, and that's the back line of 4. So I was glad to see Chuy Garza back, and I think to me, part of the goal, or the reason why we scored that goal, is because of Chuy Garza, and that for me is a focus of the best of the match. Just the way that he hustled, the way that he fought for that ball, showing that garra tigre. A lot of times we see this garra tigre from our team in games where we're trying to catch up, where we're down 1-0 and the team's fighting until the end to try to get a goal, and we see players make plays like that. But when we're tied in an easy match where we're controlling, we're getting a lot of shots in, you don't usually see players fight for a ball that hard. I mean, if we go back and look at the replay of that play, when Correa misses his shot and the ball just goes sideways, Chuy Garza's not even in the shot. In the whole shot of the TV screen, he's not even there yet, and he is able to catch up to that ball before the defensive player. So that to me is the best, because obviously it translates into making sure that everybody else in the team understands that this is how every ball should be fought on every single minute of every single game throughout the entire season. And if we can continue that, and if all the players can also uphold to that, then I think we can have some positive results going forward, regardless of any other mistakes that may be going on and things that will happen throughout the season, right? And as far as the worst, I mean, in the end, it's just I still feel that there are certain players that are not being placed in the right positions. Obviously, Chuy Garza is filling in the left spot because we have nobody else, but maybe he should be playing in the right. Obviously we had Suarez come in instead of Joaquin. When Suarez is not a center back, why are we using him? We also have Bruneta playing almost like a center defensive mid, and he did have some good plays. He had some good through passes, but we're not taking advantage of his full potential, keeping him that far back. So hopefully, there's going to be some changes. Hopefully this is just because it was Juarez, maybe an easier team. Maybe we knew we were going to control the ball and that we didn't need to defend as much. But we'll see. We'll see what Pizarro has in store for us.
Taking all that in, and the improvisation part about Guido Pizarro implementing as he begins the season and his second, or starting season, but took over in the middle of the season last season. So this is a good impression, I think, that he also made with going back to the basics and understanding that as we continue to build the identity of this team that has been sort of in this transition from more direct to back to possession, and then some pressing, and then some more freelance and tactics with Siboldi, and then going back to a military style of rounding out games with Paunovic. I feel like now Guido Pizarro is in a place of establishing his identity and looking at what works best for him. The inclusion of Garza in the starting lineup, I think, is definitely something that is an impact in terms of I can't truly recall, within the last three coaches that Chuy Garza, starting from Miguel Herrera, earned playing time and then eventually lost it. So he made a really good impression, to begin the season this time around. And I think that's a building block there for Guido Pizarro and finding a new identity. I think that he can trust that in a backline of four, he'd be a really good option. And it could be his coming out party in terms of like getting more recognized nationally for his play and his young, Mexican, characteristics. And so that was very impressive for me. But I also, agree with what, some of the couple of things that you said there, Alfred, about like, why are we doing things, right? We round out Joaquin starting on the bench. You have a player who you brought in to create danger, and we'll get into, your initial thoughts about Angel Correa, but Bruneta, and Gorriarán at times in a very deep role, Lou. So talk to me about the tactical, impression that you got from this initial game and where we might look with the inclusion of, Angel Correa and obviously Andre Pierre coming back in the second half, as well as, Romulo starting at that center back position.
Yeah, the addition of Angel Correa obviously gives us an additional weapon up top to be able to score and generate more chances. But Guido Pizarro from the midfield down is still in a big predicament and a big pickle because he hasn't acquired the pieces that he needs in order to really run his system. Right? Alfred mentioned it. We weren't able to land, or we haven't been able to land a left wing back because ultimately I think he still wants to run five at the back. So he's doing the most pragmatic thing, and honestly the best thing he could do is play with four at the back. But I don't think he's willing to budge at that holding midfield position. In other words, he's not going to plug in what's his name? I forgot his name. Romulo. He's not gonna plug in Suarez at the holding mid position because he's just not very good with his feet. He's not very good at playing out. At least for the characteristics of a holding mid that he wants. So if Tigres is unable to go out and get a holding mid that like a Guido Rodriguez type of holding mid, it's gonna end up being Gorriarán playing at that position. And you like it or not, I think it's going to have to be Gorriarán who adapts because Bruneta, you're wasting too much offensive power by making him drop that deep. So I think ultimately for what he needs, I think he's going to end up converting Gorriarán because at the end, I don't see Tigres being able to land two big fish at that for the squad. So they're either going to land a left wing back or they're going to land a holding mid. And so we're kind of at this point where we don't know what's going to happen. I think the best option right now is Gorriarán.
It's what turns the tide, right? We go from, whether we can explore the backline of five or truly hold a backline of four with the help in the middle of the field. So it obviously goes down to the rumors and, Guido Rodriguez being linked to Tigres. We talked about it, a couple episodes ago that, the possibility of him arriving is going to be a late arrival. Either he's going to look at all his offers in Europe first and then potentially decide if Tigres is a possibility for him. And I don't know how long the board is willing to wait. And so I think even, Rosales was recently heard, I think, what you mentioned earlier today, Lou, in one of your chats, and mentioning the fact that could possibly level up the offer or leverage down in terms of like his playing time and his, injury and possibly being out. So a couple of the rumors there, but ultimately I feel like that's why it's been a joint effort in the midfield with, like you identify with Nando taking over that role and possibly, full time for the season because, a guy like Vigon gives you different characteristics. You didn't use the opportunity for the inclusion of Parra in that role for young minutes. So obviously you're looking to establish, going back to what I mentioned, an identity through a back to the basic feature of, what he's been successful with as a player, which is possession, coming clean out of the back, having control of the tempo of the game, even if it seems at times that it's a slow pace and even, not fun to watch. So,
it,
Do
it
we
leads
think
me
that this lineup is going to work with other teams?
Truthfully, no. I do believe that you can compete at it because I think that the intention of those two players doing a dual role and the back is coming out clean and direct and being able to launch to Linus and Osiel Herrera in this case, even Correa with all his movements in between the middle of the field and the ability to go out wide. I think that at least you get the possession, established quickly offensively with the center defensive mids who have a lot of creativity to play in that level of the field to be able to help the distribution as you like launch the wide attacks. So that's why I think it could work. But I think also you gotta identify how that center back position is going to be truly played because Joaquin gives you a different spark, even though he's not as technical with the ball and coming out of the back.
I think Zwarg, the reason Zwarg's he played this game as a center back is because ultimately I think Pizarro's going to convert him to a stopper. And which leads me to believe that maybe Rosales is a lot more of an option at this point than Guido Rodriguez is. So possibly you'll see us returning to 5 at the back sometime in the future. Maybe possibly even against Toluca.
Or Lou, hear me out. Be able to rotate Aquino's playing time with Chuy Garza's playing time and allow him to compete, week in and week out. And Aquino can slowly transition to that role if need be, if you end up bringing that left wing back who can potentially also play in a back line of 4.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. As far as competing, Alfred, I think we can compete. The problem is, are we going to be smart enough? I think what really killed us against Toluca and semis last year is that we weren't smart. We didn't realize, we didn't pick our spots. We tried to at times go toe to toe with them. It's not what we're capable of at this team at this point, at this juncture. We just don't have the personnel to go toe to toe against the Cruz Azuls, the Tolucas, even the Americas of the league, and it's just the reality. So that means we have to be a lot more pragmatic and we have to be a lot smarter when we play them, and that's on Pizarro ultimately to prep our guys to understand the moments of the game. We had a 1-0 lead against Toluca in semis, and we blew it in a matter of just a couple minutes. But it was because we got excited and said, let's go for a second, when really we should be bunkering down and try to end the half with the 1-0 lead. So, things like that are going to have to improve under Pizarro, and Pizarro's going to have to be a lot smarter when he plays against these big teams. I'm really interested to see how we do against Toluca this weekend coming up. I think that's going to be a really good test for us.
Defending champs, new Campeón de Campeones winner. Some of the most informed Mexican players for the national team: Marcel Ruiz, Alexis Vega, the past scoring champion, and Paulinho.
As they say in Mexico, Arnoldo, they juegan de memoria. It's just a team that's really well coached and knows what to do and can play in different ways. They can play direct, they can play counter, they can play possession, they can kill you in all different ways. It's a scary team.
Yeah, it's
Show
going to be
Dennis's comment.
It's going to be a good test. Just looking at it from it's also a big preparation to get your players informed for the Leagues Cup, to compete and use that also as finding your rhythm early in the season with more games. Park the bus. You already that intimidated by los Diablos Rojos de Toluca, bro?
I mean, in 2 games, what they've scored 7 goals. I'm not against thinking about
the Rio Planadora or what? Edgar Angel Correa makes his debut, number 7, a little bit on the controversial side in terms of his number, retiring Barbadillo, the incorrect spelling of the name, the comment about no one reaching out to him and then eventually reaching out what was that incentive there? And then also came across many like videos of him criticizing or I'm sorry, acknowledging that the CONCACAF championship was better than the Final Regia in 2017. I think it was like, used out of context, but there's a video out there where he talks about it. So there's a lot of controversy around it. You got a player from Atletico Madrid who is a World Cup champion. Expectations are high by the fans who attended the game. What are some things that stood out to you by his debut, and what is something that you look forward to for him to helping out, and what you identified through what stood out for this player?
So it was a little bit underwhelming. I think we were expecting just a tiny bit more, but not too much. I didn't expect them to come out and have a hat trick or anything like that. Obviously, he's still adjusting to his teammates. He's still adjusting to Monterrey and the league in general. So I wasn't expecting too much. But he did have a couple good opportunities that we saw. So there's obviously potential and plenty of room for improvement there. I think those were the positives with him. Still not too happy about the whole number situation. I think we kind of just look a little bit weird as an institution when we unretire a number. And that's for any club. I've never heard of any club doing that. I think there was definitely a deal that was made with Barbadillo, whether it's going to be a palco named after him in the new stadium or the remodeled stadium.
Did we slip him some money or no?
Or a street on the stadium.
Yeah, or a street in something. They're going to compensate.
The metro station is going to be renamed.
Cálmate, Samuel.
Estacionamiento Barbadillo. Yeah.
I have a question. So, for Lou, perhaps, if you guys, regarding Correa, if you guys can help me decipher what exactly was his position on the field, because obviously, the lineup came out, and we saw that Lainez was in there, Herrera, Osiel Herrera were in there, Ibanez in there. Did we have Bruneta and Gorri kind of play as a team, as a two-man CDM, and then Correa above them? Do you guys feel that he could be closer up to the box? I mean, I don't know if that affected him in any way.
So you think he was just disconnected from all the players around him, the creative players?
I mean, I'm not even sure, like, from what I saw, exactly what position on the field he was in, because I saw him all over the place. So, was he sure what position he was playing in the field?
Break it down for him, Lou.
Well, you played with two wingers, right, in that four system. So he's a media punta, central attacking mid, with Bruneta kind of being the mixed breed mid, and then Gorriarán playing your holding mid position. So if you notice, Bruneta kind of floated around from being a holding mid at times and then pushing up and playing more of a central attacking mid role, whereas Correa just played as a fixed central attacking mid, didn't really drop down deep to do any of the defensive duties. I think that's the position he likes to play, Alfred. He likes to play right behind the 9, with the liberty to kind of move into space as needed. So, if you notice certain moments of the game, he's kind of drifting it to the right of Ibanez or to the left into the box. He's kind of looking to poach in those areas, but he's also a guy that can get the ball and distribute. I think it's a chemistry issue right now, and it's normal. I think a lot of people expected him to come in and pull a Gignac and score and have assists, but it's going to take a while to build that chemistry. It's not going to happen overnight. I think everybody's kind of learning a different role. You had Gorriarán, who's playing in a different role. Bruneta, who's being asked to be have more of a defensive presence, and then you popping in a guy who hasn't been with the team. So I think it's one of those things that is going to take a little while for everybody to gel and kind of work together. But honestly, I don't think it looked bad. For being the first game, I thought, definitely there'll be more connections further down the season. But overall, Lainez looked okay. Ozzy looked great. And even Brunetta, I think he was very active. He had like 106 touches, I want to say, in the game. Very active, and I think eventually they'll start linking up. But it's it's just a matter of time.
You know what could be a really good strategy, as we'll talk about APG's return. But if you are going to give the confidence for Nico Ibanez to be your starting forward in this situation and allow Andre Pierre to fully get back to form, get more reps under him, and but a good way to end the game is obviously with his inclusion, as well as now Gacelo, and having Angel Correa more informed and just looking for those in between lines with Gignac helping out with more of the creativity to allow it to drop out of the box and connect with some of the midfielders, and then having those guys making runs and cuts as flashy dagger type players like Gacelo could be in this situation, or Angel Correa, and even Osiel Herrera, if he's on the field at the same time. It gives you that flexibility now to build up more. So it could be exciting there as well as, he continues to round out his lineup.
I think that was part of my disappointment as well. Just I wish Pizarro could have brought in Gignac just 5 minutes earlier, man, before sitting down Correa. Just letting them have 5 minutes together. I mean, I think the fans would have loved to see if they could have been maybe linked up in a play or two. So obviously, you're winning the game. You have an extra man. Like, why not? So
That's back to the basics topic. He knows that if he gets wild, it can alter the result. And typically, that was one of the biggest complaints against Tuca is like he wouldn't adjust in game, and it was this he waited long to make substitutions. And so I think at that point in the game, he's just looking to secure the result and be smart.
But they weren't defensive. They weren't defensive subs. I mean, he brought in Gacelo, he brought in Gignac. But my point is, like, you replace one for the other instead of like you could have replaced Ibanez and Osiel and left Correa on, just 5 more minutes or whatever, and see if they could have linked up. That's just my take. I mean,
I see where you're coming from. I mean, obviously, I would have enjoyed it and watching them play together and just, like you said, see what potentially could be. But I think that's part of like he's looking to find still an identity for this team based on the players that he has, and I think he's improvising and like looking at different ways to be smart with what he's got to put as a strategy to win games. And I think that until he gets either the left wing back to play in the back line of 5 or the midfielder to play with a back line of 4, I think he's going to find himself in like not overcommitting to a way of like just being chaotic and free at the end, even if it's 1-0 victory. What's up, Dennis? How are you, man?
I'm from Brownwood, Texas, the middle of nowhere.
Where's that for context for our listeners?
West Texas. If anybody knows where like San Angelo and Abilene's at, it's like around that sphere of the world.
White cities, man. White cities. We ain't know.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
This guy.
Facts.
Dude,
Hey,
are you wearing some Western boots, Dennis, or no?
No, dude, look, I'm actually wearing a freaking Messi Miami jersey today because that's what I decided to pack. Bro, all my Tigres jerseys.
Dennis.
Bro, here.
Arnoldo, can we get him kicked out? Can we get him kicked out, please? Wearing a
Dude,
No,
Miami
wait,
jersey.
I can't wear my Tigres jerseys around the kids. It's got the freaking Tecate on the back. I can't wear it. Yeah, bro, I can't wear it around these 13-year-olds. Like,
dude, that was such.
Te voy a tener que mandar un warm-up one of the warm-up jerseys that doesn't have any.
Send me the blue one. Yeah.
I think I mentioned it on here before, but it just reminds me like when I was in high school, like they would ban like soccer jerseys because it would have Carta Blanca on the back. So
sucks, bro.
You're just wearing like, hey, risk of like, hey, you got to change. You had an extra polo or an extra shirt to put on.
Yeah. Say something real quick about Correa.
Go ahead, bro. What stood out to you, and what are you thinking moving forward?
And Edgar can attest to this because we watched the game together on Saturday.
Watch party, my man.
Watch party, DFW. I I thought he was good. He just didn't get enough of the ball. And my biggest issue with the game was that the spacing in the midfield still like really bothers me. Like I think even guys on our big thread mentioned that Brunetta and Correa were way too far apart. That's just something that needs to get fixed as the season goes on. I like that Correa was much more advanced and kind of even like playing as the striker sometimes, like even kind of being ahead of Ibanez and even being the false nine for a few minutes when Ibanez was taken off. But he just needs to get more of the ball because when he has the ball at his feet, he can do stuff. He can work in between the lines better than probably anybody else in the squad. And I just feel like we didn't see enough on Saturday. So once the midfield shape gets a little bit more, I think we'll actually see the best of him. So it's understandable to not see it in the first game. So I'm not trying to get like too like down about him because I know what he can bring to the table. It's just that the guys around him need to give him the chances to be on the ball in order to make that happen. So I mean, I thought it was good. There was some moments here and there, especially in the first half, where it's like, okay, I see where he can see passes, where he can see spaces that nobody else can, and he also draws attention. So naturally, there's going to be spaces for Ociel or for Lainez or whoever else you bring off of the bench to be able to do stuff that they wouldn't have before, just because Correa is going to naturally bring that attention. So
Cordoba coming on in the second half. Gacelo Lopez, Antuna. Who else?
Tuna sandwich.
Joaquin.
Yeah, Gignac.
And Andre Pierre. 5 substitutions. Lots of movement there.
Weird bench, bro.
What's that?
It was a weird bench. Because it was like those were the only 5 guys you could bring on. Like there was no Parra, there was no Cielo,
Marcelo.
Do you guys criticize Pizarro for not using up any youth minutes?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I feel like a missed opportunity for sure. There's got to be someone that you can plug in, like especially like I feel like he's got a plan in the sense of like as he's managing a game, he's got a plan for moments where a youth minute player could be useful and relax the tactical grip by having a young kid who could potentially screw up and not lose advantage in the rule for the youth minutes. Definitely think that he could have plugged in Parra, obviously. Definitely thought that he could have plugged in even one of the young forwards to get some reps.
Instead of Gacelo. I mean, Gacelo didn't do anything anyway, so
yeah.
Like a Diego Ramirez or something, right?
Maybe even, I don't know if Chicha was on the bench, but like if you would have had Chicha on the bench, like Chicha could have come in instead of Tuna.
So do you think he's just going to plug in whenever he just needs the minutes? He's going to, out of nowhere, he's going to plug him in a 90-minute?
I have a feeling Alfred's going to be really busy this season, bro. Crunching those numbers again.
So you think we're going to be close to giving up 3 points?
I mean, my problem is that, I dunked so much on Paunovic, for not being smart about this. And here goes Pizarro, game 1, against Juarez at home. You're winning 1-0.
Number this season too. It's like another 170.
Yeah, you need more minutes. You're up 1 man. You have a completely controlled game, and you waste the opportunity. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
because I'm with Alfred. I don't think the subs really did much for us.
Well, I feel like le movió mucho. Like,
yeah,
he tried to get too creative with like plugging in player per player.
What was it? The first, I think the first sub was like Cordoba for Ibanez. So like he took out his striker, brought in midfield. Like if you were gonna do that, take out Ibanez, that's when you would have brought in Gignac in place of Ibanez.
Remember,
if not,
you and I talked about it. That we were like, dude, now this is good. This is what's gonna happen next, and like you just basically gave up minutes because you just wanted to be like smart with it.
Nothing happened. Just nothing happened.
Well, and then he brought on Gignac and Gacelo at the same time. It's like, why would you have them both on the field at the same time at all?
And if you guys notice, like they were both leaning to the left. Like I don't even remember. Like I never paid attention to Gacelo at Toluca, but I guess he also likes to lean to the left.
He leans left a lot.
Like Gignac. So like now we have 2 strikers coming on. They're both leaning to the left. Like, what are we doing?
That's where I feel like he's got to strategize in how he plans the games out, because he can have the total flexibility of starting a game with Gignac for 45 minutes and be able to also change tactically by bringing on players and actually using the windows in a more efficient way. I feel like that, you bring in a guy like Gignac, maybe the game doesn't go well, or it does go well, and you're up a favorable score. You change the way you play by bringing Ibanez, and then you go more through the wing play. Gignac, Gacelo could come in after Ociel has gotten most of the reps of the game, or Linus, and I feel like he can get flexible with that. It's just a matter of how he has to be better at managing throughout the game.
It didn't seem like it was planned. What it looked like to me was like he was just bringing in players just to like make everyone happy. Like, Cordova, here you go. You get some minutes. Gacelo,
Yeah.
you get some minutes. Gignac, you get some minutes. Tuna, you get some minutes. Who else wants some minutes? Like, it was, nothing was planned.
Do you guys think he'll start Gacelo over Nico on Saturday against Toluca?
No.
Well, is he even allowed to? Is there like a clause in the loan deal that he can't play against him?
That's a possibility.
What is
Wow.
it, Quiñones again?
I hadn't thought about that, Dennis. That's interesting.
Hey, here are the other options that were not used on the bench for Saturday, just as a reminder. Tapia, Osvi, Pisuto, Vigon, and Loroña. So I'm telling you, I
Oof.
think he poorly planned the bench. Like, there was no options to get youth minutes from any
There
of
was
those
no
10 guys.
At all.
Yeah, no, he
That's
didn't bring
crazy.
any.
That's wild.
Is that a statement in terms
Hope
of
not.
for the other players like Marcelo, even Chicha Sanchez, who's been around now with Paunovic before? Or
The only
get
guy
me
who could
wrong,
have
I
got
mean,
you
if-
anything was Pisuto. The only guy, because he's 23.
Yeah,
but he gives you like a
20%,
small percentage.
20%
Yeah, he
or
doesn't.
something like that.
Yeah, he doesn't give you the whole thing.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. If obviously, if the playing is right, and we're getting results, we're getting points, and this team at the end of the season makes 33 points and we lose 3, I'm not gonna be upset. But I don't think that's gonna be the case.
Edgar, what do you think, man? You think we're in trouble? Andre Pierre Gignac makes his return. Are you hopeful we'll be all right?
I think we'll be good. I think with Gignac back, there's just a sense of confidence that reappears on a lot of these players that was lacking these handful of games without him.
I have a question for you guys, because we usually throw out the beginning of the season. We did it last season at least with players like Tuna and Linus and Ibanez. I want to bet in here, or at least get you guys' takes. What will Correa's numbers be at the end of the season? Assists and goals.
Eight
At
goals.
least 5 goals.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Edgar.
Come again, Edgar?
I was saying at least 5 goals, 4 assists.
9.
9 goals?
No, 9 G plus A is what I'm
G plus
counting.
A.
G plus A.
That's a good bet.
So same as Edgar, basically. 5 and 4.
No. I was just adding up his numbers.
Okay. What is yours then?
I think it'll be a little better than that.
Mm.
I think it'll be closer to 15. I'm gonna go 14. Higher on the assists.
Yeah. I'm going 8 and 5. I think he puts in 8 goals, 5 assists.
See, and I'm going the
Dennis?
opposite. I'm going 8 assists, 6 goals.
12.
Yeah.
7 and 5.
Yeah.
7 assists, 5 goals.
You know what I feel like he's gonna get a lot of those outside the box shots, finishes, where he's just gonna have to be placing the ball or striking hard, not around outside a little bit of the penalty kick area, where he's just gonna do a one move and shoot or connect and with the pass. I feel like that's where a lot of his goals are gonna come through. I think in long play, he's always gonna be an option, not inwards towards goal. He's always gonna go backwards for the open shot if it's available. I don't think you're going to find him too many situations where he's going to go and be the first option in the air. So I can see a lot of goals coming from that. And by by definition, also being involved with a lot of the assist making by making extra plays near the box.
Okay, I'm going with 10. Not as
10.
low as Edgar. I'm going with 10, and I'm thinking that he is gonna have maybe 6 goals, 6 goals, 4 assists. Just because I do believe that he has just a greater ability to find the back of the net. That with the few opportunities that he might get, because I don't trust that much that we'll have other players assisting him as much, but the opportunities that he'll get, I think he'll take them. And then just to follow up on that question, then, so do we think he's going to be competing for, goal scorer or highest goal scorer in our team this season?
Well, I think without a doubt. I was going to ask.
He may be the one.
I was going to ask, what do we need more, his goal scoring or his assist making?
Oh, his goals.
Yeah, I feel like
we're a very goals by committee team.
Yeah, we need someone to stick out of the pack, and you can't rely on Andre Pierre, at his age to lead you if he's not going to get the starting minutes, and he may not even be fit to play starting minutes. So the responsibility's got to fall on somebody else. And I think that, in the past has been a collective effort. Bruneta has probably stood out as, some of the a top scorer, but I think that Angel Correa has to lean that way in order to help the overall state of the team.
If it gets distributed, I'm happy, man. I mean, if Correa can pick up 8 goals, let's say, and Nico can pick up another 6, and Bruneta picks up another 6, and then you get 4 or 5 from Ozzy, I mean, and then Gignac, maybe half a dozen or so, then, we're going to be in good shape.
I would love to see that happen, Lou. I would like to believe that we can make that happen. There's definitely some odds against us there, but I would love.
I mean, that's a heck of a lot of goals. Like I think you went 8, 6, 6, 4, 6. So like 18,
at least
26,
give me 5.
30. So you went with 30 goals just in like 5 guys.
Give me 5. Give me 5 out of Ibanez. Give me 8 out of Angel Correa, and give me a bunch of 2s and 3s between Gacelo Lopez, Ociel, Lainez, Antuna.
Oh man, you still have hopes on Antuna, bro. Like I can't believe.
Bro,
hey, Tuna almost scored, bro.
Bro, he's gonna get the Chiripa goals this season, bro.
He almost scored one today.
Or he's gonna get the I can't believe he missed that again.
He's gonna get the leftovers of bad plays or something. He's gonna be lucky.
If Ozzy can stay healthy though, dude, I think he might have a decent season, bro.
Yeah. Alfred and I talked about it at the carne asada that ultimately he's the only player that you can look in that lineup from the young guys that you can say, hey, he could potentially give us a better season than he has over the last season. Yep. Everyone else has peaked. You won't get anything much more out of Cordova. He guided you to a championship in 2023. Diego Lainez is what he is. I don't think he's ever going to reach the, double digits assists, maybe even maybe mid.
He'll get more goals than Tuna though.
Yeah, no, I'm saying just overall, like going back to emphasizing the fact that Ociel Herrera is the only one in that lineup that sticks out. Everybody else has completely peaked. If we would be foolish and insane to expect something different out of anybody else besides Ociel Herrera, and being a better player than he was the previous season, because he always has had the most upside, because you can't teach physicality in terms of physical specimen of how a player is made. The dude is an athletic winger, and he has a natural scoring ability and is able to find the back of the net.
For reference, last season with Osura, we scored 24 goals as a team.
Love that for us.
Also for reference, Necaxa, who finished below us, scored 36, and Toluca scored 41. So
we'll definitely be in the 30s.
30s, sure. Okay.
Mid 30s.
All right. Let's make that note, Alfred. Write that down and keep it for the vote.
Yeah, put me down for 35, Alfred. Put me down for
35.
35.
Ándale, 35,
The spread is
Yeah,
high.
I'm
Oh,
feeling the chemistry, man. I'm feeling the
Okay.
like
chemistry.
it.
Like I feel like, and I'm not talking about what we saw against Juarez. I'm just talking about off the field, el poder de la amistad. I think it's gonna come through, bro. It's
Bro,
gonna
you
come through
so
this season.
we
Like I feel like Angel Correa clicks with these guys on not only like on the pitch, but I think he's gonna off the pitch. He's also gonna click with these guys a lot.
I feel like we have the great value locker room of like South American forces as opposed to when we did in 2017. We got the great value Walmart versions of them. Like good vibes. You still got
Member
The
Nahuel.
choice.
the Hill Country Fair version.
Bro, you remember they were vibing with Ener Valencia scoring, leading scorer for Ecuador, Edu Vargas leading scorer for Chile, Andre Pierre at his best. That was when the French mob was coming through with like Andy Delord and like even Colo, like those type of foreign players we had. Those are highly valuable hangout vibes from all the culturally and like different types of personality.
Zelarayan, half
Celarayan,
Argentinian,
Chuco Sosa,
Armenian.
Aquino was in his prime.
Carioca eventually, but now we get like Gorri, Brunetta, Angel Correa, Nahuel and Gignac, a lot much older. Nico Ibanez now being the productive player that we expected him
Joaquim.
to be. Joaquim just being young, coming through and like trying to establish himself on the club. Like great value vibes, bro. We're not there with those vibes that we had in the past.
All right. Last question for you guys. Ibanez then. How do we feel about Ibanez? Do we think that he's gonna stick? Pizarro's gonna stick with him as his starting striker throughout the season?
Absolutely.
Man.
He'd be a fool not to.
I mean, if he
That,
misses,
that a fool not to have Ibanez as your starter over Gignac. A fool not to.
Bro, you think
Oh,
all delusional with Antuna, lose delusional with Nico Ibanez.
A fool
If-
not to. Oh man,
if-
that's
No, but seriously, like think about it. Like I know I sound crazy, but think about it.
I just
Would
pictured you as soon as a lineup came up, like at any other game, and a lineup came up and Ibanez is on the bench, and Lou tweeting, Pizarro's a fool.
He's a fool. No, here's my logic behind it is that because of where Gignac is right now in his career and his age and his body in general, he can't be your full-time guy anymore. Like I feel like we're past that point where we're gonna play Gignac 90 minutes, start him, and then he's gonna last the entire season into Liguilla fully healthy for the entire season. I just don't think it's smart for us to do that. To me, is ease Gignac into these games throughout the regular season, keep him healthy, and then have him ready for Liguilla. I think that's the best case scenario in my opinion. If you try to play with Gignac as your main guy, you're gonna run him into the ground again, and we'll lose him for Liguilla when we need him the most. And it's not a good scenario.
What do you think is gonna be?
Gacelo, on the other hand, is not. To me, he's not the guy for this formation that he's trying to run. He's a good guy that you can plug in to give you a different look, to play differently, to maybe mix some things around, but he's not going to be your guy to start. So I don't see Gacelo knocking him out, and I don't see Gignac's body being able to let him play the entire season. So what do you got left? You got Nico.
Oof. The
Correa
insurance
false
policy.
9. Correa
things-
false 9. Correa
things
false
there.
9.
Lou, Austin FC is there. You can start the recruitment process, and you'd be a lot closer to Nico Ibanez, and
Bro,
we can
they
solve a lot of
just
issues.
recently lost Brandon Vasquez, bro.
See. There we go.
Don't
This
tease
is
me.
the
Don't tease me,
There you
Arnoldo.
go, man.
this is the hype that I'm looking for.
Double
We
L
need-
Nation, you need to start tweeting these rumors, man. Double L
Yes,
Nation.
yeah.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Come on.
They're working.
Then we'll have money to sign Bawanga. And then we could be super delusional.
Bro, if
There you
Austin
go.
FC gets Nico Ibanez, I'll get season tickets.
Ooh,
For Los Verdes.
Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Alfred, please.
He'll come on the pod with an Austin green shirt.
dude, he probably has good market too. for it,
Bro.
man. Hey,
Don't tease me. Don't get my hopes up, man.
All Stars games going.
Or you can send them to Charlotte.
All Stars games going on. There's going to be some negotiations going on with Rosales, possibly the Minnesota United, and here now the new rumor of Austin FC possibly acquiring Nico Ibanez.
Double O Nation, get work.
I can get behind that all day, Lou.
Me
Second
too, man.
thing, though. Second thing. What are you taking? 55 plus or under for minutes average by Andre Pierre this season?
Per game,
Yes.
it's got to be. You got to in the regular season. You got to keep them 30 and under.
30 and under.
That's where I want to see his average, like 25, 30-minute average per game.
So you're set on he's going to be a sub the rest of the season.
Bench.
Yeah, pretty much. I think there'll be games where he starts because we'll need him to start, but probably gets pulled at around the 60th minute or so. And then there'll be games where Nico starts and he comes in and gives us 20 minutes. I think in the long run, throughout the course of the regular season, it's going to average to about 30 minutes.
Okay. What about you guys? What do you think? How much of an impact is he going to have with possibly 30 minutes, or other thoughts that you guys may have? Dennis?
I think it'll be a while. I think he may starting some games, like once this Leagues Cup thing gets going, once we get to 2 games a week. There's gonna have to be rotation. Like you can't run any of these guys into the ground, whether it's Gignac or Ibanez or Gacelo. Like you can't run them into the ground.
Or anybody
So
for that matter.
Well, yes, but especially those 3.
Yeah.
Because we saw what Ibanez not having a backup, like once the Conca run started, like how detrimental that was to him, just not having really any form aside from like a couple games here and there. Like really after the Clásico, like he just was non-existent, right? So probably 45, honestly. I could see a fair amount of games where APG starts and then is pulled at halftime. Or the inverse, where he comes in at halftime for Ibanez, for example.
Okay. What do you think, Edgar?
I still believe in him. I think he'll still have an impact, even if it's, a lot less minutes than what we were used to.
There goes that
agrees.
dog. Bro, see, I'm telling you, that dog is aura farming.
That's funny.
Hey, you guys saw the rumors that Gremio is interested in Brunetta? What are you guys' thoughts on that? Given that the transfer window is still open.
I mean, if
That's
they want to
interesting.
give us like closer to 10 instead of 6, I think I would take it, to be honest.
Or do you take the 6 and not risk the possibility of his decline in value, and you just take it for what it is? He gave you productive seasons, didn't win you the cup, but you recover some of your initial investment and move on and restructure the team in a way that makes sense. Or has Pizarro gotten close to him that he would not let him go?
We asked this at the end of the season, and I think most of us agreed that we would let him go. But I think back then we were thinking we were going to get somebody in the midfield. Right now, the way things are looking, like we're not going to get somebody in the midfield. I can't let him go. Who else are you going to use in there?
Well, hypothetically, if we're just going through hypotheticals, you release them. Let's say you get rid of them for $6.5 million. That's enough money to go get Guido Rodriguez. You plug in Guido at the holding mid, slide Gorriarán up to play Brunetta's role, and then you still have enough money to go out and get Rosales. So potentially it leads to a 2-for-1 kind of thing.
Or, you sell Brunetta and then Guido in the end doesn't want to come and you lose Brunetta and you don't have Guido in it. It's 0-for-2. So,
and Rosales gets injured and you don't get him.
And Rosales is hamstring.
With our luck.
That's fine. That's fine. Just put Parra in as the defensive midfielder just to get all the
Which
youth
he should.
in.
Which he
should
should
anyway, yeah. And then you put Gorriarán as the box-to-box number 8.
That's what's disappointing as well. Like, you'd think that, after a whole preseason, like, that Guido Pizarro would have trust in this player if he would have seen already that he can, he can take on the role. He would have started him. And man, it's a
That's
shame.
the thing. That's the
Parra
thing
might be hurt.
I can't figure out about Pizarro, man. Like, he literally had no intentions of playing Garza last season after his grandfather died or whoever died in that one game. Didn't play him at all for no reason, really. There wasn't a drop in play. There wasn't anything horrible the kid did on the pitch that you could say, hey, well, he pulled him because he was horrendous. There was no rhyme or reason why he didn't get any time, any playing time. And now he starts this game. I just don't see the logic or his thought process of some of
It's
these
back to
choices he makes.
basics. It's back to basics. It's the Tuca playbook. No youth. No
youth.
trust in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
youth system. That's back to basics, man.
I would rather at this point, hear me out. At this point, I'd rather have Chewy start every game. I don't care what side of the field he's on. Actually, let me rephrase that. I think I'd rather him start at right back from this point forward. Not to say that Aquino had a bad game, but you can tell that he's slowed down. I think there's a
He's
marginal
declining.
difference now between last season and this season. And I'd rather him be like a super sub off the bench where you could either plug him in the back or even like up front
He got frozen there.
going forward, because he's also our best crosser. Like that's a huge thing in this team that loves to spam cross like crazy. So why not have your
And
best guy who can do it on the field?
And Aquino didn't hit the end line once in this game.
No.
I'm curious about his decline as he finished out his contract in December. Does Chewy really compete at that right back spot if you find the left back, or you just change the way with Angulo, depending on what you're looking to get out of the game? And so I'm really curious as to what Aquino is, because I do agree. I feel like he wasn't necessarily bad, but he definitely didn't do some of the link ups that he normally would in the last part of the field.
Do we think Garza started just because Angulo was injured? Like, if Angulo was fully fit, you think he would have started Angulo over Garza?
Dude, I just don't like him as a true left back in a back line of 4. I feel
I
like
don't
he
think
gives you
so.
so much more as in the back line of 5.
I think Romulo would not have started, personally.
And he would have plugged Angulo at the right center back position?
Yeah. Or
Which
either
still-
one.
Or Purata,
But which still leaves the doubt, why did he sit Joaquin? Why did Joaquin not start? That's
Right.
the big
Yeah.
question.
And that's where I'm going, Alfred. That's what I was saying earlier, is that I think Pizarro ultimately goes to the back at 5, and he's going to need Romulo to play as a stopper.
And so get reps, get exposed
Exactly.
to situations in the back line, even like skipping lines with having, more freedom, because there's going to be a sweeper and he's going to be the stopper.
Exactly. This
Oh,
was
sure.
this was the warm-up game for him. I think against Toluca we go with 5 at the back.
How long is Angulo out?
I
At least a
heard,
couple months.
I heard till at least September,
Oof.
middle of September or so.
Yeah, so we got to readjust. The sad part is, I missed this when Alfred was talking about, the midfield is, who are you bringing in? And it's like, you got to be going. If something goes wrong in the middle of the field with either Bruneta or Nando, Bigon and Cordova are the natural subs that could potentially go there. And having Bigon be in that role as a deep end holding mid could be a little scary as the continuation of developing. So Guido Pizarro has a big task at hand in figuring out how he can establish discipline, but also willingness to dictate more of the offensive tempo to close out games in a less favorable or a more favorable setup than he did this past Saturday, whenever we were defending a lot. And it's not like he was parking the bus. It was a tempo and a thing of Juarez pushing, looking to score, and I think Juarez also looked good. So
It was
ultimately,
Fulgencio, man. Fulgencio pushed us back.
yeah, right.
Cálmate, Woodsy.
Him and Rodolfo Pizarro.
That was, bro, that was wild seeing them on the bench.
Yeah.
Pizarro, what a clown, bro, making the "it smells in here" sign.
Oh, I totally missed
Anyway,
that.
Bro,
Yeah,
he's just trying to
when
get
the
attention. He's
cameras
so
pan
irrelevant
through the
now.
bench, he was like in the bench going like this, like,
Yeah, he
I'm like,
just wants
dude,
to
come
get
on.
attention.
still wait.
One thing, guys, moving a little bit away from the actual field, as we close out, this conversation about the men's side. How do we feel about this particular statement? We had 3 broadcasts or 3 networks showing our game in Fox Sports, Estrella TV, and Universo and Telemundo. So technically 4, 2 of them being Universo and Telemundo sharing a network, obviously, or
In the U.S.,
in
to
the U.S.
clarify.
And then in Mexico, you had it in
TV
uh,
Azteca.
TV Azteca, Fox Deportes, if I'm not mistaken,
Tubi,
Tubi. Tubi is through Fox Deportes.
yeah.
And so five avenues to watch a game in the U.S. and Mexico. Great exposure. So, which now I pose the question: what does that mean for the team's like exposure as it continues to like branch out to different fans?
Well, I hope it brings more, more eyes and better biases towards us. Oh, my phone just dropped.
I think
Also
it
more
helps.
money,
Yeah,
you know.
I was gonna say that. Obviously, when Tigres moved out from Televisa or had to follow with Televisa, and then they only had the contract with TV Azteca, you could kind of feel like, oh, there's gonna be less money, right? But now money's going to be coming in from all these different networks, all these different broadcasts, and then on top of that you add like the sponsors, now know that they're going to be on multiple networks, so that could have even have played a role, in the new sponsorship with Sportium, letting them know, hey, there's 5 TV networks in the US and in Mexico where your brand is going to be shown. So I mean, I think it's great. At least I'm not saying, we can't say, for the fan exactly, what that represents for the fan base. Obviously it's good to see that we get new fans everywhere. We saw a Tigres fan in what was it, in the Pumas game or the Cruz Azul? I don't know what it was. It was a small Tigres fan. And we'll continue to see that, so yeah, it will definitely help, but in the long run. But in the short run, I think it helps financially the team a lot.
Lou, how did you watch the game? What channel did you see it on?
I watched it on Estrella TV with Pello Maldonado, baby. Yeah, I've just been sticking with it, bro. I mean, I had the option of Telemundo too, so through YouTube TV.
Yeah.
So that the options there. I mean, it's nice having the options, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm for the home games. I'm still gonna stick with Estrella TV, just because of the. I feel like you get more of a
A local broadcast.
yeah, a little more of a homer kind of feel, where they're cheering for the team. I like that. I mean, El Palmera Rivas and Linda Cavazos. I know there are people that are from the area that know the team well, and they're kind of speak my language a little bit.
Yeah, we watched it on Estrella TV at the carne asada. We were invited to for a gathering, and we were hanging out with some of the more fans there. And Alfred's been joining us through Frank, and who invited him to those game showings. And
Shout
one
out
of the,
to Lau Houston.
yeah, Lau Houston. So some of the things that, like, as we were watching the game, I feel like he had a lot of audience engage throughout as a whole collective effort, they had a lot of people engaged, because you think about, like, you can stream that from anywhere. Like, you don't really need like any sort of subscription to like watch the game. And so even though it does have delays, like, it does give you that homey feel, like if you were watching the game in Monterrey with the people that are commenting the game as well as calling the game as like play by play, like Bayo does.
I think it's also important for fans to know, hey, for home games, this is the app I can go to. And with with them having the varonil and the femenil, hey, it's gonna be on there. I can just tune in.
For
I
sure.
think
No.
that having that consistency helps out a lot instead of like, oh man, where's the femenil playing on? What channel are they on this week? It's good to have that for, especially for fans that might not be as hardcore as we are.
Right. Yeah. Is Jose Luis Lopez Salido is the guy that as Telemundo now. He's I mentioned it during the game that day. He also, threw our flowers or threw his flowers at us whenever he was part of through the end. He was not a guy that just took the opportunity just to criticize the team, and obviously provided insight as the things that he thought were obviously positive, and more of those than the negatives because of what the institution and the reputation that Tigres had earned. So I think you got great options. And then you look for another type of entertainment, you go to Fox Sports, where you get more of a comical approach as well, as you're calling the game with John Laguna, Mariano Trujillo, and I think they alternate, that third person, Claudio Suarez at times. So I think options is great, but I think like if the US base leans towards Estrella TV, I think you get more of that engagement, especially with the social media aspect and like just checking in where people are actually chiming in from watching this game on Estrella. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Connects everybody a little closer.
We watched on Telemundo. Edgar and I did, and I thought the broadcast was fine. There wasn't any like issues with the quality or anything, and they were talking good about us. So, what more can you ask for?
Nice. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I love for them to expand on that, to continue to make the games more available, because you get, like I mentioned, the atmosphere of like locally through Estrella TV. I guess in a professional scenario with the Telemundo team, and probably even better production than at times a Estrella TV app can be, because it lags at times. And then you got the option of, again, Fox Sports for streaming and cable TV.
And Telemundo actually has a halftime show,
Oh,
unlike
nice.
TUDN. So Edgar I stepped away for a second during halftime to put cookies in the oven. But who's the girl that you were saying that's doing the halftime show for Telemundo? Do you remember?
Another former TUDN person, but I don't remember the name.
Adriana Monsalve.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But they actually went into the studio and actually talked about the game, as opposed to TUDN's halftime show where it's like, okay, three clips for 20 seconds. Bye. That's it.
Dude, they no wonder Azcárraga, the owner of America, makes a ton of money. Dude, they drain you with advertisements during a game. It's awful. Okay. Let's round it out with predictions for the Toluca match. On the road, a must-win scenario for the momentum and the team that you're facing, that they have, as well as starting on a good note the season, where questions will arise, and as Guido Pizarro continues his adventure as the head coach.
I don't know if I agree with your statement of a must-win scenario.
I think it's a must-win.
I mean, I call them must-win. When you're playing against a team that you can't lose, like that it's it's preposterous to lose to. That's a must-win. But I wouldn't be surprised if we lose to Toluca. Obviously, we want to win, but being a must-win scenario, I don't know.
No, definitely.
What's your prediction?
I say we tie. I mean, that to me, that's best case scenario. We're in Toluca. In fact, even for Correa, it's going to be a tough game. I mean, he has no idea what he's up against. Like, he was sweating his ass off on Saturday at El Volcán. How do you think he's going to be doing down at Toluca and in Mexico DF with the Altura? So we know that this that is not an easy field. Just to top it off, is not an easy pitch. And then on top of that, we're facing the best team. We still have some doubts in our lineups. We still have, we don't know what the lineup is going to be. We don't know if we're going to be playing a back line of 5, back line of 4. There's doubts in the midfield. There's doubts in the offense. Obviously, it wasn't a bad game against Juarez, but there's still doubts. I don't think that we've seen, that we can say after one game, oh, now we have the best version of Tigres that we can go out and win in Toluca.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I think
So-
it's a must win, and from the point of view that there's things to be proven. You have now another week under training. You had a preseason with the team. You even though there is questions in the lineup, this is where the questions again. You must ask if a coach like Guido is ready for this challenge and matches like the defending cup and the
So you're saying-
Confederation Cup.
So you're saying if they tie, that would tell you that Guido is not ready for it? Like to me, a tie would be an excellent result. To me, it
Oh
would
yeah,
be, Guido is doing his work. Like there's hope in this season, and I think Guido's is done great.
So do you believe that the team leans more towards a tie or a potential loss?
I mean, I said it. I think I would not be surprised if it was a loss. But I'm hoping that if the team is well worked and there's been a good preseason, there's been good preparation, and Guido Pizarro is ready to give us a good team and a good game, we can get a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
4 at the back or 5 at the back, Alfred?
I would go with 5 at the back.
You start
Okay.
Angel Correa or you bring him off the bench?
I mean, you can't bench him. He's your new, he's your new star player. He has to start, but I think he's going to see less minutes though.
Dennis, what do you think?
We're losing 2-0,
Okay.
despite parking the bus.
Este
So
vato.
back line of 5.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised by Dennis's prediction.
We only scored 1 against Pinky Juarez. You think we're gonna score against
Pinky Juarez.
bro? Like, come on. Like, and it's just we're gonna play 5 at the back. They have all the momentum in the world. Unless they send Marcel Ruiz to Europe this week, we're gonna get killed. This is
Okay,
Okay.
Dennis, well, let
Keep it
me ask
real.
you this then. Let me ask you this. You think the woes of last season are going to continue where we're decent at home but terrible on the road and can't score?
I think that's very possible. Very possible. And this first game will show it. I mean, this is the standard of the league right now. Toluca is. So, what better way to reveal whether or not we can handle the road? And I mean, they better figure it out because you're about to play 3 games in the U.S., not in Monterrey, against MLS teams that you should beat, and they better not struggle to score against them.
Those are must-win scenarios. Against Houston Dynamo is a must-win scenario.
No, you just
Against-
have more confidence in that victory.
No, but exactly. But if you lose or if you don't win against those teams, then you got something to say, like what's going
Yeah.
on with Pizarro and his team.
But as a fan, you have the confidence in those matches because they're in theory they're weaker opponents. So that's why I pose it in like it's a must-win scenario, but because they have to step up. Like the competition is here; they are the standard. You need to win these matches and get rid of the curse that Lou's talking about, where we're only like good at home. Like that's not a good team, and that's what I'm saying. Like he's had time to like go and work through this, and he's now has a different player and has had some of the same players working under him. So I feel like a tie is not necessarily a bad result. It's a great result. A 2-1, like Dennis states, more realistic.
2-0.
Or 2-0, I'm sorry. And then Edgar, what do you think?
I think we're going to struggle, but I think we can pull off a victory. It's going to be 1-0, and we're going to suffer a lot.
Okay. Lou, what do you think? What's the prediction?
My head tells me we're going to lose, but I never pick against my team. So I'm going to go with Alfred. I think we're going to pull out a tie. And I think that's the best case scenario. I don't see us going over there winning. Personally, I would not start Correa. I understand Alfred's point. He is the marquee man. He is the star. And you have to start him. And I understand that. But personally, I wouldn't start him. And the reason I wouldn't start him is because it's a really tough place to play at altitude. And we're just going to make the guy look bad. So we're going to go into League's Cup with a lot of the fans whining and complaining how he had a terrible game and he didn't perform and it's a bust and piquete de ojo and everything else that the
That's
media is
coming
going to say.
regardless.
And he's not going to look good in Mexico City. And so to me, you don't start him. You go with 5 at the back. You sacrifice him, and you can easily get it done with Lainez and
That's
Ozzy
good.
and Brunetta and
I can be on
Correa.
board with that. I can be on
And to
board
me,
with
that's
that.
what I would do, just to not expose my player. I think he is a good player. I just think you're putting him in a very tough position against a very tough team that's very well coached, that has a ton of talent at altitude and a tough venue. I think you don't do that to your star player.
Well,
And
what you could do is you could bring him on in the second half, like, and just have him be like like an unpredictable factor for Toluca, right? And that way he doesn't tire himself out over those first 45. You know what I mean?
definitely, yeah, definitely, that's what I would do. I would definitely give him minutes, obviously, because you want him to be playing in that kind of scenario because you want him ready for what's coming up, down the road. But to me, you don't start him.
So that's what we would want. What's going to happen? Do we lean more towards Alfred and him starting, or Lou on the conservative side and protecting the player, which you paid quite a bit of money to bring?
I think Alfred's gonna be right on that. I think he starts him. I just don't think he's gonna bench him. He's your star guy, so he's
Yeah,
not gonna bench him. But I think it's gonna backfire on him.
and that's where my prediction comes in. I think we lose 3-1, and that's why for me it's a must win because ultimately, like, the odds are stacked against us, and we have masked a lot of our deficiencies over the last 2 seasons due to poor roster or not the most put together or well roster in terms of the type of identity, players, characteristics, and skill sets. And so I think that ultimately, as you work through, all those adversities, that it must be a must win because you still have to demonstrate as competitors. And having been under a preseason under him, that would come in. And again, instilling the World Cup factor of a player, even if you only played a few minutes.
So,
Uh,
do you think this is gonna be a one-off where we lose this time because it's a very good team, or do you think the struggles continue where we're gonna be a terrible road team?
I
That's
think we're
for
going to
you.
be a terrible road team.
So it's gonna continue.
Yeah, I don't think he as equipped roster wise to go toe to toe with some of the better teams, and even some of the bad teams are going to put up good games against us, like Juarez did.
you made me think of some things. I don't know though. And going back to Lou's comment about Angel Correa and not exposing him and whatnot, that he could have a bad game. I kind of think that it might be the opposite, where Correa might be like the bright star in this game, where he could shine. Because the reason I say this is because we already know the rest of the roster, right? And we already know that players like Bruneta, like Gorreran, like Lainez, like Ociel disappear against the big teams. We know that. We know that in these type of games, in these type of situations, those players are not going to shine. Those players are not, they're good against the Juarez, they're good against the Querétaros, they're good against the Tijuanas and the Pueblas, but against these teams, they don't show up. So I think, on the contrary, I think that if Correa plays, I think he might be the bright spot in this game. That I mean, like Arnoldo said, could be disastrous. I still do. Um, Either way, think that even though we have almost the same roster, I have high hopes that Guido Pizarro is going to prep well for just going back to the topic of back to basics, that he's not going to risk it as much. And because he's not going to risk it as much, we can get a tie.
Yeah. Okay.
He's not convinced, bro.
No, no, no. And I mean, you could convince me. Obviously, I could be easily swayed into losing 3-1. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Three. How much did we lose last season in that semifinal away? Was it 3-0? 3-0, right?
I think so.
Yeah, they're
I
a
mean,
very
it's a
good team.
different scenario because we were desperate. We needed the win, right? We needed the dub. This game we can approach it a lot differently, knowing that a tie is just as good as a win. That
Yep.
But a
It's a
1-0
close
so
game.
but a 1-0 victory or a 2-1 victory like opens up improvements tactically and like confidence wise in terms of player development, as discipline will be a factor in managing games for this team because they lack the talented pool like we've had over past seasons.
Okay, but what would benefit this team more? Winning or getting a good result in Toluca in the second game of the season, and then just being nonchalant and confident the rest of the season, and then potentially just you know dropping in the end, or having a stinker, losing a game this early where it's you're still not affected, you can still recover some ground, and it just makes them work twice as hard the rest of the season.
I'm with Arnoldo. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put it as a must-win game, but to me, this is a really, really, really important game in terms of confidence. If you go to Toluca and get skunked 3-0, dude, it's gonna be a lot like what you guys are saying, that perhaps we're gonna fall into a good home team, terrible, terrible road team. So beyond the score, what I want to see is at the end of the game on the stat sheet is the chances created.
Yeah.
Because
Oh
if
no,
after that
no.
if after that game we only created 2 chances, that tells me that we haven't learned anything, that we haven't improved from last season. Where if we went in and created 6 chances and we missed, let's just say we were unlucky. To me, that's a different scenario.
No, because we're not facing Juarez, bro. Like you can't expect 10 shots on goal like we had against Juarez. This is Toluca we're talking about. They're gonna be on top of us. They're gonna be the ones that are gonna have more chances.
But I think collectively that's where like I lean towards like he can the questions could arise is of like starting to shape if he's up for these moments, because even though it's week 2 or week like 18, like we've seen the players that are here, and one player is not going to make a difference of that impact to sway potentially like having a different result at the end of the season, because it's still a weak team. If from all ways that you look at it, we have some talented players,
And
but
that's why I'm saying, I mean, we our last game versus Toluca, we lost 3-0. Tying a game right now against Toluca would be a huge improvement.
yeah, I would lean more towards the chance created, a 1-0 victory where the players showed a collective improvement under the tactical guidance.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, Alfred. Like, there is ways to squeak this out if we're smart, and
Yeah,
it might be an ugly tie, and that's okay too.
Yeah,
Uh, but
a
I think
Tuca tie.
we need to show that at least we can battle,
mm-hmm.
and because if we can't battle, forget it. In Liguilla, we're not gonna. It's like Arnoldo
Va a
says,
ser lo
one
mismo.
one guy is not gonna change everything, and it's gonna be the same thing as last season. So we need to be able to show that at least we can threaten,
Can
which we weren't able to do against away game in Cruz Azul, and we weren't able to do it at the away game against Toluca.
can Ociel hold the responsibility of possibly score another goal or being very active starting? Can Lainez keep up that momentum that he had in moments against Juarez? How does the pairing of Brunetta and Gorriaran? Obviously, all the questions are there for the doubts. And that's where I think that like this is the exam. Like you had, a small practice test, and then you did the quiz, or you did the quiz and the practice test with the preseason, and now you're here to take the test. Like
Yeah.
you need to show that tactically and collectively you've gotten better as a team, even with the addition two players through Gacelo and Correa. So I think I should have structured it a little bit different, but in the scenario of a must win, like we have to win it, it's the end of like, our season, but more so for the importance aspect of, these guys to show us if they're up for the task to even, like Lou said, compete and battle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've got
because if we end the game with one shot on goal or two shots on goal, bro, forget it.
Yeah.
Then you guys are gonna be right. It's gonna be that way the rest of the season. We're gonna stink, and it's gonna be a big concern. But if we've got 6-7 shots on goal and our XG was 1.2, 1.3, I'll take it. I'll take a 1-0 or a 1-1. But we have to be balanced. We have to be able to defend well, and at least show a chance of threatening.
yeah, you got 4 games on the road starting this one.
Yeah.
And so
Houston, San Diego, and LAFC, right? Also
right, and so
for Leagues Cup.
and think of, and those are when the schedule came out, you thought, oh, those would probably be like not super difficult games.
Winnable games.
I mean, Toluca's
Yeah.
going to be very difficult. Houston is probably going to be the easiest game.
Mhm.
San Diego's the best team in the Western Conference in MLS right now, which is shocking considering they're an expansion team. And LAFC is always going to be a thorn in our side. So this is going to be this next 2 weeks is a huge test for the squad as far as like having los huevos, right, to be able to do this on the road and show us what they're made of.
And
You
that's
get-
why I think a 3-0 or a high scoring loss would really hurt us, dude. I think that
Yep.
momentum carries into Leagues Cup, and we're gonna stink it up.
Because you go from a challenging game from the momentum of the opposing team to potentially whatever result comes from that having an impact on playing down to your competition the rest of the way to the Leagues Cup and being sluggish and blaming it on the sluggish part of just starting the season. So I think confidence-wise, tactically, it's just a huge, huge opportunity to get ahead of things and make your team better based on a team effort. As we saw Club America at times displaying as they won the 3-peat, right? Like it was a collective and obviously an amazing coach. And I'm not comparing in the sense like Guido's still very young in his tenure, but obviously we're looking for things that could identify him as a potential good fit for the club from a collective standpoint.
I know we'll probably talk about Leagues Cup next week, but how much importance are you guys placing on the tournament? Like, what are the expectations for Pizarro and company?
Well, okay, so before we answer that, the format has changed. And so it's not groups how it was last year. You have to be one of the best 4 teams from your league in order to advance to the knockout round. So we have to be one of the 4 best Mexican teams to advance to the knockouts because it's just a general table of all 18 of our teams and then the 18 MLS teams that are playing. And so the 4 best MLS teams advance, the 4 best League MX teams advance. And so
the 4 MX teams that win out their games get 9 points are basically gonna
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And if there's more than that, then you've got to have a great goal differential and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We'll have to break that down next week.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty high stakes thing.
Right.
Like it's not going to be as easy as it was the last couple of years. Easy.
So you go straight into quarterfinals, then, is what you're telling me, Dennis?
And yes, and every game up until the semifinal at least is League MX versus MLS. So the earliest we could ever see like the same league is playing the same game is in the semifinal because even in the quarterfinal, the way it's structured is like the top MLS team is playing the 4th best League MX team, and so on and so forth. So
I think from a financial standpoint, you don't win very much. So my question, I guess, back at you, Lou, is what do we gain from it, right? Like, what else do we gain from it? Because financially, we don't gain anything. I think reward-wise for winning the competition, we already qualified for the next CONCACAF Champions Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but we would get a bye into a later round if we win or get second.
So we're looking for a bye. Essentially, that's the biggest
Yeah.
win besides obviously some hardware.
So making the final then.
There's no Club World Cup implications or anything like that, Dennis.
No, the avenues to make the Club World Cup is only through CONCACAF.
So that's what I would pose it back to you, Lou. Is like, what do we truly gain for it? Like, do we really? I think to me, it's more about implementing a play style and getting good results and going as far as you can.
I'll have an answer. I have an answer for you. I think it is important. Because if this gives us a chance to get a better buy-in in the Conca, which is going to give us a chance to get into the next Club World Cup, it's probably easier to make the League's Cup final than to win out a championship in a Liga in the next 2-3 years. I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to be negative, but it's just easier, to make the final in the League's Cup than to win the Liga MX, to be able to get Conca and to be able to go down that path for a Club World Cup.
If
So
if
you're
Pizarro
playing
has
the long game here.
truly if Pizarro has truly embraced the Tuca ways, though, I think he's gonna
Back
he's
to
not gonna
basics.
he's not gonna
Send the
take it too
youth.
seriously.
Send the
He's
youth.
not, and if we advance, and then the more
Yeah.
we advance, the more serious he'll take it. But
Yeah.
I think he
Oh,
might just be
man.
like, hey, dude, we don't care.
Este
That-
güey
Yeah,
va,
dude.
It's gonna be the
este güey va a
after-
poner a tercero. He's gonna start
There's-
tercero en Pisuto.
Bro, because so that's what I say. You're playing the long game, Alfred, because it's like I think at that point, like we're in the CONCACAF. Like if we don't make it past the, to get a first bye, like we're not made to win it, and like we don't need to see the team
Yeah,
further than
if
that.
if we're getting bounced by Real Estelí, bro, forget
Yeah.
it. We weren't deserving.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you playing the long game. You playing 18 holes of golf.
I do generally agree with the consensus of it is important because for Guido's sake and for the team's sake under Guido, you have to implement a style, and these are 3 great opportunities to do that in neutral environments. Well, not neutral because we'll be away, but to do it against competition that you won't see like as consistently as you do the teams in our league against fast players and fast teams. Danny Bouanga at LAFC, for example, and Chucky even still it is like older age for San Diego, and then the kid from not the
Jack
kid, the guy
McGlynn.
from no, well McGlynn for Houston, but I'm talking about Dreyer from San Diego, who's a beast. That dude is awesome. But
It's a shape up tournament.
yeah,
If we win it, good for us. We don't. The financial, like I said, aspect is not high. So I think it's
exposure
just,
for the brand, that's always a benefit. And
But I
Apple
think-
TV loves us.
but I think we have that exposure there in the U.S. market, at least from the media. I came across a clip from Taylor Twellman recently, and he shouts out. He was talking about us going out there, Rosales, and just mention us like, Tigres, going after Minnesota United left wing back, and then even talked about Ovid Vargas potentially going there. How like they were like sticking up for him. That like that wouldn't be a good fit in terms of his youth. That he should definitely be looking towards Europe. So I think we're a household name in terms of U.S. media, more so even in a more fair sense than in Mexico.
Yeah.
When you're big, you're big. What do
So-
I always say?
Yeah. Okay. We'll have to dive in more into that Leagues Cup, but definitely worth obviously keeping up with and seeing more of the development of the team more than anything, and potentially winning that cup. So
First game is a week from tonight.
today, yeah, in a neutral
Coming
site.
coming up fast.
Shout out to Frank and his squad, Alfred. It's gonna be hanging out there at the game together. That's gonna be awesome. Looking forward to hopefully meet some more people as well, like we did last summer. That watch the pod, listen to the pod, keep
You
up with
gotta
us
make
online.
you upload some content, man. Make sure
Alfred's
that we
gonna
get
put me to
some
work
followers
like
there.
he always does when
Yeah.
we're hanging out.
Yeah, man.
Okay, guys, we've been on here quite a bit. I want to just touch brief base on the Amazonas delivering a 4-0 victory with some definitely good moments in that match by the squad. Obviously, an inferior matchup, but it was a positive one for Las Amazonas as they hosted Club Necaxa at the Volcan. There was a festival of goals as the final score for the evening was 4-0, and nostalgic moments were relived as we experienced goals from La Maga Ovalle, a brace, and Maria Sanchez together once more. The other goal of the evening was from Jenny Hermoso, who also had a solid performance. This result allowed for the team to reach the third slot in the league table, only behind Chivas and America. Is the team gearing up for a climb and stay at the top of the league season? Let's discuss. That's what Edgar from Double O Nation prepared for us alongside, I think, some help from Alfred, if I'm not mistaken, on this outline. And so, real brief, guys, what do we think about the team's start to the season, Lou?
Good start. Happy with some of the performances we're getting out of Jenny Hermoso. I thought Jenny Hermoso had faded a lot last season, wasn't contributing, but we're
Two
starting to see
goals.
her. Yeah,
Two
we're
goals,
starting
yeah.
to see her score, which is what we need from her. I think her, you know, helping out defensively and being a passer, that's all good and dandy, but I think what we needed her was to be on the score sheet, and I think we're getting that. I think she's starting to venture into the box more, where I think she's lethal. She's got a great set for goal and for the the porteria, and we underutilized her a lot last season, and I think this season that's changing. So I think that's positive. Maybe it's due to Pedro Losa's system kind of changing a little bit. And it was good to see Maria Sanchez kind of shake off the cobwebs. The more we can get her fit and ready, I think the better this team will be. And then, once we add some of the players that have been out, like Thembi coming back later on, I think this team's only going to get better.
I'd like to look at if there's a way to rate her efficiency on the field with involvement on the ball and off the ball, because I think naturally Jackie Ovalle has more flair offensively, though Maria Sanchez just gives you something completely to that style, as well as a more tactical with technical work being played on the field. So, man, I think that her scoring at home definitely good moment there, and I think that she's going to be special for us against this season, getting involved in goals and assist creation. And she had that play where she tried to backheel it, and it's just like that's just like above technical flair, right? We've seen Ovalle do the Camaron scene, but now we saw like a backheel in the box, finished by Maria, who unfortunately didn't go in, but just has a different way of seeing the game. And I think that complements well with the buildup of Jenny as well as Ordonez, who now gives you a complete different weapon. You had that at moments with Ana Diaz in the box and finishing with headers, but now you have a very physical presence that wins balls in the air tactically. So on set pieces of corners, free kicks, they're looking for her, and obviously adding to the pieces that we have in Farmer, who's great in the air as well, and Greta Espinosa, who's scored goals in the past off of set pieces. So much more to look forward to in the way that we can score some goals, like we've seen throughout this first two games.
Edgar brought up the fact that we're better positioned to be able to finish first, and I think that's really important. That's something we went away from these last two seasons, finishing at the top of the table. And when we were dominant, it really didn't matter because we were blowing teams out and we had, leads, and, we were closing at home. But now that there's a lot more parity in the league, in Liguilla, that sort of thing matters now, right? Because if you're tied on aggregate, the home team gets to advance, and we lost that last year. With Rayadas, we saw it, and I think it hurt us. So I think that needs to be a priority for Pedro Losa, is to be able to finish at least first or second. I think preferably first, to be able to have that home field advantage throughout.
And you know who actually used youth minutes this weekend? Pedro Losa, making a couple. Had a debut for the striker. Can't recall her name.
Was it Ana Salas?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Nancy Antonio's sister. I can't recall her first name. Came in, assisted Maria Sanchez on that.
I read some good things about her too.
Yeah, she's definitely an up and coming player. Obviously, building a name for herself at the club and starting off on the right foot. So he took advantage of the youth minutes and the fact that he was up. Even distributed another minute to another defender. I can't recall her name either. That came in, and the here. Let me look. I have to Google that and make sure we give these shout outs properly. But
was it Yaya Munoz, or I was thinking who else could it be? Sometimes she plays Mané Gonzalez as
no, it wasn't
as a
Mané.
fullback.
It wasn't Mané. Tatiana Flores came in the match, also in the second half. So he definitely used the minutes.
Can't believe we're in that thought process where like Pizarro should be taking some notes from Pedro Losa.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I mean, he does have more
just my thought.
experience.
Yeah, just my thought in general. I mean, obviously we can't, we want them to finish up high in the standings at the end of the season, but I'm gonna take it game by game. I think we got our hopes up at the beginning of Pedro Losa's tenure, and then it sort of went downhill. So I don't want to get my hopes up high too soon. Let's take it game by game. I think next up is Santos on Monday. Easy team. We just need to link up wins.
I'm with Edgar. I still don't know if Pedro Losa is the guy.
Yeah, we don't know.
At least we'll know a lot more this season. He did take the team on 5 games into the season last season, so he lost the preseason and he lost a good chunk of the start.
And with
so
a
now
lot
we'll know
of
what he's made
players
of.
that were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this will be a better judge. We'll be able to better judge him this season.
Yep.
With a better roster and his having a preseason, I think we'll know what he's made of. And obviously we'll judge mostly his performance in Liguilla because that's where it really counts.
I feel bad for our girl Jennifer though, getting hurt in warm-ups, and it looks like she's going to be out for a little bit. I saw her post on her Instagram story that she's in a boot.
Oh wow.
So I don't know how long.
Foot injury or what was it?
I don't remember what it was, but it was during warm-ups. Like she was supposed to start, and then they had to pull her, like during warm-ups because of that. So
what a shame.
Feel bummed for her. Seemed like she's.
I guess it's a good thing that we had a couple of striker signings. So
Yeah, because I mean she should be starting every week, and so I'm sure she's frustrated that she's kind of going through some bad luck with the way last season ended and all that, and then not starting right now because of her injury. So
Arnoldo, clear it up for us. Was it Natalia Munoz?
Dude, I couldn't even find it. I went to the SofaScore, who normally gives me the stats, and they had Ana Cesa that came in as a sub. Like absolutely.
LOL, bro. What?
Yeah. So then after that, there's obviously ways to watch the videos, like the highlights, but I couldn't find like it's got to say something. But anyways, I think ultimately like the main thing is like the midfield, a young player like Antonio coming in and being more of an impact than Alexia Delgado is a problem.
I don't see it as a problem, man. Alexia Delgado needs somebody to bench her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a problem because like
problem for her, but not for us. I mean, we want
yeah, for sure. But we already were up when she was on the field. I think it's a problem because that's a lot of your depth. So it's like, is the young 19-year-old player going to take that role away from a 24-year-old player?
Why not, man?
So okay,
I don't see why not.
What do we got next, guys? From the vault, you're up. Not sure anybody has any closing thoughts on the femenil match after going up 4-0.
Nope. Just glad they're winning.
Fantastic.
Keep the W's coming. All right, from the vault, we'll start with the one that Edgar left us. Well, I mean, Tigres left us. Edgar wrote it on the outline. Make sure that we comment on it. But obviously, this is something happened last week that will be left definitely for eternity for the vault as a controversial moment on Saturday, July 19th, 2025. Tigres officially unretired the number 7 initiated to World Cup champion Angel Correa. The number had been retired in honor of Jeronimo Barbadillo in 1982 upon his transfer to Italian club Avellino. The club honored him by retiring the number 7 permanently. The retirement stood for over 40 years until July 2025 when Tigres made the surprising decision to reassign the number 7 to new signing Angel Correa, a gesture symbolizing a passing of the torch and recognizing Correa's status as a world champion and high-profile addition to the squad.
And a passing of funds into his bank account.
Yeah,
Alle-
I mean,
Allegedly.
that video that came out obviously from the club with Jeronimo Barbadillo, saying good things about Correa and passing on the number and whatnot. It was completely contrasting to what he would said maybe like 2-3 days before on a different interview. So yeah, there must have been something there under the table.
Lo pagaron en tacos y gancitos.
I don't know, man. What's your take, Lou? I know that you did not want number 7 retired, unretired. I'm sorry.
No, to me, it's an unnecessary move.
Yeah.
If we were getting Cristiano Ronaldo and he's coming in, there's an association there with the number 7. That's a different story. But to me, Correa doesn't have any ties to the number 7, and then you're putting unnecessary pressure on a player to live up to the hype, to live up to a legend. Barbadillo is a club legend, is a guy who gave so much to this club. At his time, he was a huge signing, huge player, a guy that left the club and ended up having a great career in Europe and Italy. And so, to me, it's just another bad move by the front office, another questionable move by the front office where you're unnecessarily creating drama. I understand both viewpoints. I understand the other side of the coin and the arguments, and it's fair. Another thing that I didn't like is a lot of the bad mouthing of some of the Tigres fans against Barbadillo. There was a lot of dirty comments that were made about him. You don't need to talk bad about a legend to prove your point. And if you have to play dirty games and talk bad about a legend, then your argument's not solid. And
I think
some of the things that were said were nasty. And to me, give Correa the number 18 that David Ayala vacated. Let him play a season or two with it. And then if his career ends up being what we all think it's going to be, I think he's going to have a great career at Tigres. Then, yeah, hand him the number 7.
The 10.
Right? Or the number 10 once he's established, right? And Gignac's out and you can let him. Honestly, number 10 is more appropriate than the number 7. And, because traditionally the number 7 is for a right winger. And so, to me, it's one of those moves that I just don't understand it. We put undue pressure on Correa and we create drama for one of our club legends. And to me, it's one of those you could have easily waited another year.
divided the fan base.
Yeah.
Number 16, 11, and 10. That was the order of jerseys that he wore at Atletico Madrid. And with that, it was just it was a marketing and sales strategy. You put your new player, star player, in theory, for the profile that he is and has, and you give him the number 7 to sell a lot of jerseys. That is the only thought process that went behind it.
Puro
was
negocio.
from a business perspective. It was too.
It made sense.
You can't pass that up from a business perspective, and
Yep.
it creates this unnecessary drama, like Lou says, and divides the fan base, like you say, to where it just deviates or points the attention somewhere else that it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I just feel like we have so much more things that we need to focus on, and we're focusing on this, and it's just like, why? But I mean, I understand if there's money, this front office has shown that they're gonna reach for it and grab it. I mean, we added a betting partner to our jersey. We were the only team in the league that hadn't done that, and we went ahead and added it. And that's divided
Money
the fan
talks.
base. That's divided the fan base too, because there's a lot of ties to the university, and that's a questionable move, right? To be for a university to be affiliated with the betting house and all that. So it just goes to show that our front office isn't always in tune with the fan base and isn't always, you know, really paying attention to what the fans want.
He made the jerseys worse.
Well, in terms of aesthetics, I mean, it's another Bitso, right? It's another sponsor below the Cemex where it just makes the jersey dirtier. It kind of clutters it up, and it doesn't add any beauty to the jersey. It actually makes it worse.
Yep.
Okay.
Completely agree. I mean, I actually what last if you listen to last week's pod, Lou, I mean, I was the one that was saying that it wasn't going to surprise me that he would get number 7. I just think that it was more of a marketing strategy. I mean, at the same time, obviously you're going to make money by selling the jersey, but just think of how this whole preseason and Football de Stufa went. It went like crap. We did not go out and get all the players that we wanted to. The only player that you were able to get, and it was thanks to obviously Guido Pizarro and some of the other players convincing him, was Angel Correa. So, what other way to hype up more the only one important signing that you had? Give him number 7. Make a bigger deal out of it. And and it definitely does add pressure to Correa, because now, if before there were doubts about whether or not he was coming to carry the team, and now you have number 7 on your back, oh, you definitely got to carry this team now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well. Look who has joined the chat. John. I was doing a puzzle with the wife and forgot about the season opener, but Fox put up 15-minute highlight packet. Seems like
Oh,
this
Sean,
pretty good. Whole lot of posts.
Sean, if you want to go back and watch the game, Estrella TV actually has the recording available, full game. So you just go to the Estrella TV app and you can actually rewatch the game there too. In case
Shout out.
you're interested in watching a 1-0 game. If you want to go straight to the scoring, the second half is where we scored. Oh, Alfred, another vault moment. In 1975, on this day, we signed Tomas Boy.
Yeah, it's one of the ones on the outline. I was going to mention it, but yeah.
Oh, my
thank you for
bad, bro.
bringing it
My
up.
bad. Now I
good.
just showed that I don't read the outline sometimes.
It was actually going to be the last one in the outline, so we were going to close off with that one, bro.
He's still your
Kikiri.
Let me not step on your toes, Alfred. Do your thing, bro, please.
All right, man. Let's run through a couple more real quick. July 16th, 2017. Okay. Tigres won their second Campeón de Campeones. This was a 1-0 win against Chivas with a goal from Edu Vargas. July 16, 2017. Then we go into July 22nd. Is a very important date for the Tigres fan base. We have 3 from the vault moments for July 22nd. July 22nd, 2017. What does it say? I don't know if it's because I listened to the podcast, but Lou sounds like he's on 4 beers. Oh my God. Sounds like tráiganme al River Plate.
Tráiganme.
Oh my God. So on July 22nd, 2017, 8 years ago, Ener Valencia debuted with a hat trick at Tigres in a 5-0 win versus Puebla. So talking about big debuts and getting off the plane scoring, man, was Ener Valencia's debut that.
Bring him back.
On July 22nd, 2015, 10 years ago, was Guiñac's first goal with Tigres versus Porto Alegre in Libertadores 3-1 victory. So obviously we've had posts from the club account about these two specific dates. But at the same time, July 22nd, 50 years ago of 1975, like Lou mentioned, Tigres signed Tomas Boy. He was originally signed for 2 years and he stayed until retirement.
En el año del
Wanna
Kikiri.
Lou, since obviously Dennis, and some of the younger folks might not appreciate as much, our old legends. If you want to add anything to it, let us know.
Yeah, man, Tomas Boy was a leader. I mean, it's a shame some of these youngsters didn't get to watch him. I didn't get to watch him in his prime. I caught the tail end of his career in the mid 80s. Once he was, way past his prime, but he was one of those guys that was a leader. He was a very good midfielder, man. Tactically sound, technically gifted, excellent passer, good dribbler. He's one of those teams that if you ever put together like your best 11, you would have to include him, in my opinion. You'd have to find a way to put him in the lineup as a starter because of not only what he gives you tactically and technically, but his leadership. He's one of those guys that is timeless in that sense. And it's a shame that as time goes by, you kind of don't get to see some of the footage of those players. But he you talk to a lot of the guys that played with him, they talk about the kind of player that he was, and obviously he's only behind Gignac in the scoring list, not being a number 9. He played as a central attacking mid, so that's also something to take into account. But he got well over 100 goals for us, so definitely a legendary player.
And that's it, guys, from the vault.
All said and done. Wow, nearly 2 hours. Great pod. What is that?
Thoughts on this, everybody? I know we
I
got
don't
Love it.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Love it.
the front is so bad, bro. Like, what are we doing? The back is fire, like we talked about last week. But
Love it. I'm getting it.
hey, I have one more thing, and I don't know if this is an actual quote from Angel Correa. So if it's not, somebody please fact check me. But I did see across the social medias today, apparently a quote from him saying that he would like to bring a certain teammate of his from Atleti with him.
Yeah.
One
was in,
certain this man, Jose Jimenez,
Jimenez, yeah.
from the Uruguayan national team.
Was that in the Pello Maldonado interview or the
Yeah, it was
Barron
in the
interview?
No, Pello Maldonado interview. It didn't show. They only showed clips of it on during the Estrella TV broadcast on Saturday. But today he threw out the whole interview, and yes, he did. He did in fact say that basically before he was coming over, and as he knew that he was coming over, he was talking to Jose Maria and telling him, "Hey, you should join me in this adventure."
I wouldn't hate it, man. I like him. I think he's a really good defender, and he's
Yeah.
got like passion to his game. He tiene huevos. So like I don't know. Like I think he fit well with the culture and with the team.
I think Correa said that he said that he would think about it, so it's kind of
Yeah.
open. He's open
Next
to
year,
the
maybe
idea.
Recruiting.
after the World Cup.
That's one thing. These big names, they recruit well, bro. That is another awesome thing about getting
Doing
these big
Torrado's
names.
job, man.
Bro, we could do Torrado's job.
From my couch.
Well, I think that just about wraps it up. Great episode, fellas. I think we got a lot of material, a lot of content, a lot of points of views about both teams. Obviously, it's always great to correct when you're winning. So, good results at home. Could have been more goals on the scoreboard, but ultimately a good win. Femenil off to a great start, and so up and going with Guido Pizarro and Pedro Loza at the helm. And hopefully, we continue to rack up positive results starting this weekend with a big test on the road against Toluca.
Let's
Yeah.
do it with el poder de la amistad, baby.
Right. We'll be
Thanks.
back next week with Big Leagues Cup preview. We'll recap this weekend. That's a goodies next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everybody for tuning in and sharing this episode. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Peace.
Take care, guys. Arriba la U.
That's right.